I think of all of Shadow Garden, I think Epsilon is winning. I think Epsilon is the only one that is winning Sid's heart. And why I say that is because of all the girls in this show, all of them just constantly clamoring on him. Epsilon is the only one that gets him to acknowledge her chest. Now, it's not for positive reasons, but it makes you kind of wonder. Like, all these girls are constantly glomping on him, and he's just always got this blank stare. Like, he just doesn't care. Doesn't have any attraction to them whatsoever. But Epsilon, he's constantly talking about Epsilon's chest. So it makes you wonder. Again, she's not in a positive light. He's criticizing it to an extent. Well, he's actually seemingly, and maybe this is to Sid's credit, Sid likes this idea of creating this persona, creating something fake, or creating this hidden identity. And maybe that's why he's so obsessed with Epsilon's chest, is because, yes, technically she's creating a facade. She's creating something fake. And she's doing a damn good job of it, because he's knowing the fact that she's putting all this effort into controlling the magic flow of it so that it perfectly bounces and everything. I like that. He's like, she's controlling the magic so that it perfectly goes by these chaos theories and everything like that. It's just kind of great. Anyways, episode 10 of Eminence and Shadow. A little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed, and I'm hoping it's going to correct stage. This is just my opinions based on right now. This episode kind of didn't really do too much besides have a lot of kind of little jokey moments. But my problem really lies in Rose. I really hope it's not that simple. Please don't be that simple. Because it's one of those things where what they're portraying right now, because essentially Sid goes in there, sneaks in, and goes to see Rose. We have the usual misunderstandings. Sid's over here talking about this whole conversation they had back in the day and how she had this desire to seek something out despite the fact of what others will think. And I think I noted it back then during that conversation. I thought it was a really, really good conversation. Sid and Rose in front of that fountain was a great conversation. It was a very rare moment of Sid sort of showing some sort of connection with somebody. And that's through this kind of commonality. This idea of, despite the fact that everybody back here says, don't do this, you still pursue it. He liked the fact that she was pursuing to become this fencer, despite the fact that everybody back at home seen something otherwise. And we're seeing a lot in that here. This idea of her seeking out barbaric ways and her choosing this way of the sword that nobody liked. They wanted her to be a princess. They wanted her to be a queen. And yet she was doing something unbecoming of a queen. And I like the fact that, yes, he connected to that. And she's kind of straying from that. And yes, there's a joke in there that he was hoping that she become this tyrant, that she becomes something else. But deep in there, he's at least acknowledging to her that there was this connection between the two of them. He thought he's seen something in her. And she chose his path, and yes, comically, chose his path that he thinks is great, taking down your father and all this kind of stuff. But no, you're going against it because you're going to get married with Pervasat. It breaks everything that I've seen in you. You're not going by the script that I was hoping you'd go by. Problem that lies in this whole situation, despite the fact that I think Rose is probably one of the most interesting characters of the series, because she's been going through so much stuff, and honestly, she's been a focus of the story for quite a while now, having this whole beginning segment, and now going into this bigger climactic arc right here, betraying the Shadow Guard and all that kind of stuff. The reasoning. So far, again, I acknowledge that this could be more. So far, it's simply she wants to protect her mother. That's it. Pervasat has control over his mother. It's kind of insinuating, based on the ending of the episode, I'm assuming that Pervasat has probably done the same thing to the mother as he did to the father. You know, put a bunch of drugs in her and messed up her mind and everything like that. She's just wandering around the hallways looking for him. And he's like, oh gosh, I got to go deal with this girl again. It seems implying that he's probably manipulating her in some way. The reason why it breaks, this is my reasoning. This whole situation, when Rose first seen her mother, she rushes out there, betrays the Shadow Garden, and goes off with the queen. She didn't have to. That's the problem. She chose to go with the queen back to the royal palace and be there. And giving herself up and marrying Pervasat because she wants to protect her mother, because he's manipulating her and saying, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to do something to your mother. And that's why she's supposedly doing all this. If that's not just the only reason, I mean, there's probably a deeper reasoning. My assumption is going to be the idea that she hopes that being with Pervasat will stop the kingdom from being the way it is and all the conflict happening and maybe resolve things. But that's a really dumb assumption because everything so far is going terribly. And everybody's blaming Rose because she killed the king and they're blaming her for what it is right now. Why it is what it is right now is because of Pervasat. So if she joins up with him, it's going to be the same thing it already is. So I don't necessarily see, unless she's short-sighted, that being the resolve for the kingdom itself is to marry him. I think the only thing that's logical here is that she's trying to protect her mother. But if that's the case, why didn't you just, when you went down there, betrayed all of Shadow Garden and got to your mother, why didn't you just leave with your mother? Why did you go back to him? And if this is the case, why not leave with her now? Other than the fact that, yes, he's probably keeping her locked up somewhere away from Rose, and so she can't get to her. A hostage situation, you're not going to let them be around each other. The only thing that makes me believe that it's more than just the mother is the fact that she goes out of her way to mention the fact that, yes, she's still thinking about the kingdom. That, yes, Shadow Garden's obviously on the move because she was a part of it. You have the Cult of Diablos is right outside her door. There's going to be this clash between the two of them in the kingdom. And her pointing that out is a sign that she does still technically care about this kingdom. She wants to protect it, and she knows things are going to hit the fan. And again, the assumption there is that maybe she does have some sort of plan while playing into Pervasat to stop the Cult of Diablos, or at least fight from the inside with them. But she should have expressed that to Sid, unless it's one of those aspects that she just doesn't really trust Sid enough. Which makes sense. She believes Sid's some random dude from his school. She doesn't know that that's who Shadow is. You would think that she'd know his identity at this point because she was hanging around Shadow Garden and they all know that Sid is Shadow. But apparently she wasn't in long enough. It just, like I said, I hope it explains more. But right now, it's really rough. And I hope that it kind of gets into something better than that just be her story. That she's just trying to protect her mother, that she could have easily left with her mother way back here. But that aside, like I said, decent episode. A lot of little comedy beats, especially around Epsilon, which I thought was really fantastic. Epsilon's obviously one of my favorite characters, even though, yes, her joke is her chest. And that's her only joke, it seems like. But yeah, her kind of sneaking in Sid to the whole situation and the whole thing with the piano playing, which totally shocked everybody. The maid gets involved, which I'm assuming the maid's going to become another one of the Shadow Garden members. It's just, she's too unique. But yeah, her kind of pulling him around. This is one of those dumb moments where it's like, gosh, dude, why can't you just listen to what she's saying behind you? Because she's literally saying, I will take you to Rose. It's a secret spot. He figures out where it's at anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it's like she's literally handing him the keys, and he's too busy thinking about the fact that, oh, this chick's just like Rose. She's trying to convert me to her religion. No, she literally is like doki doki over you, and she wants to show you where Rose is, but you're too busy worrying about that. I'm still kind of intrigued by the powerarchy system within the Shadow Garden. With this episode, we're obviously showing that, yes, 559 badly wants to kill Rose. She betrayed us. I want to kill her. And it's funny because you technically have that sort of being quelled a little bit in the idea that, like, early on it shows how, yeah, technically her trainer, Lambda, she wants to show this too. But it's kind of interesting to see that despite the fact that 559 wants to just take her out, and everybody's kind of assuming that's what Sid's going to do. Like, yeah, Shadow's going to go kill her. He said that he's going to do his own punishment, so we're going to let him do what he does. But at least it kind of shows that despite the fact that I was questioning in the last episode how 559, despite the fact that she loves Shadow and thinks that he's pretty much a god, for some reason she's okay with the idea of questioning Shadow and choosing Rose. And that kind of adds to this episode the idea that, yeah, they're all telling 559, chill. Epsilon's literally telling her, chill, which I like the fact that it seems like Epsilon is possibly overseeing 559. I mean, they all do. All the 7 should be overseeing all of them, but it seems like she's in direct command of her, at least right now. And Epsilon's telling her, look, Shadow went and seen her, and he didn't kill her. So it's obvious that he has a plan for her. This goes into what I expect from these girls, that despite the fact that she did betray them, obviously Shadow wants her for a reason. He chose her, bestowed power upon her, brought her into Shadow Garden. He's not killing her yet. I have to admit, the whole balcony scene, I kind of was like, oh, please don't, like, stab her or something like that. I don't expect Shadow to kill any of the Shadow Garden characters. If he does, it's it's going to make it even worse for me. Like, I already don't like him in a lot of regards. Even in this episode, him literally hearing and listening in on Pervashat physically abusing and manipulating Rose, and yet he doesn't step in. That stuff really does, it irritates me. This idea, and granted, it's nice in the idea that it's different to have a protagonist that literally doesn't do what you expect they're going to do, because that's Shadow. Sid Shadow is a character that just doesn't really see things the same way everybody else does. He doesn't jump in action. It's all for this plan to do something cool. Like the whole idea of him coming in there and wanting to go against the marriage. It's not that he is against the marriage. He doesn't care. It's more of the fact that he wants to do something spectacular. He wants to do something super crazy. But it's still it doesn't make it not annoying that he's literally sitting outside the window and Rose is being strangled by this guy and he's doing nothing about it. He's like, oh, okay, well, this ring. Walks away. It's like, I hate you. I really do hate you. But it's all playing into that aspect of them realizing there's some kind of plan that he's doing and they're not going to mess with it. Like, they understand that or at least they mistakenly think that he's always got some crazy plan that he's doing. And that's its expectation that they're going to stand aside and let him do it. And it's kind of funny to see Epsilon sort of trying to push that upon 559 and saying, look, he's got a plan. He's doing it. Don't get in the way of it. But Epsilon also mentioned the idea of trying to get 559 moved just below the 7, which again kind of is one of the question marks I've been having is when is it going to come to the point where 559 just goes, no, you know what? I want your spot. I want your spot, because it implies this idea that when you get to a certain point, you can actually even challenge the 7 and take over one of their seats. And it kind of seems like it's all playing that out as if that's what 559 is going to do. She seems like the most not like the other girls. Like I said before, the idea of them all respecting Shadow's wishes and not questioning them. 559 is the first one, I mean, besides Rose, but she just joined. And that's what they're kind of having with Lambda. She's kind of upset the idea that she did that. Rose did that. She wants to correct it. I must have not trained her right, because all the girls respect his wishes and don't step out of line. 559 is the first one to do that, so I'm kind of curious at some point if she's going to be sort of the one that finally breaks in the system itself. It would probably be in the realm of her questioning what the others are doing for the sake of Shadow. They're not doing what's needed in order to protect him, and for instance here, they're not stopping Rose, even though, again, they believe that Shadow wants that. The only other note that I have is, yes, of course, Sid stealing everybody's jewelry, including the ring that Pervashat thinks that he still has. I am curious about the ring itself, if it's going to be one of those things where they believe that that's the power that the ring itself has. Like, there's this legend that the ring was used to pretty much wipe out this entire area, and then it could possibly use to wipe out this entire kingdom, or if it's going to be one of those kind of revisionist history where that's not necessarily what did it. But yes, it's kind of funny that everybody thinks like, oh crap, we got to get that ring. We got to have to get the ring. He's going to use the ring. The ring is very dangerous. And then Sid's over here going, is it a wedding ring? Huh, that's weird. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 10, Eminence and Shadow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does. And y'all take care.